Today, we're digging into something really cool, a blueprint for making real, actual change in a community. It's called a Community Leadership Lab, and it's all about moving from just talking about ideas to actually doing them, and doing them fast.
So let's start with the big question this whole model is trying to answer. How in the world do you create visible, meaningful change in your neighborhood in just 90 days? I know, it sounds kind of impossible, right? But stick with me, because that's exactly what the Community Leadership Lab is designed to do. What we're looking at here is a completely new kind of blueprint. It's built to sidestep all those slow, top-down processes we're so used to. The whole point is to get visible results in a matter of weeks, not wait around for years. And you can really see the difference side by side here. Traditional models often get stuck on hypotheticals, while these labs, they only work on real projects. Instead of a slow, drawn-out process, the goal is quick wins. And forget those stuffy retreats or webinars. This is all hands-on, local, and completely human-centered. It's a total flip of the script. Okay, so let's get down to it. What exactly is a community leadership lab? Let's break down the essential pieces that make this whole thing tick. So here's the definition in a nutshell. It's a group of local changemakers who get together for 6 sessions right there in their own community. The mission is pretty clear. Figure out what strengths the neighborhood already has, build new connections, and, this is the most important part, launch small, actual projects that have real, dedicated funding. And all of this really boils down to 4 core ingredients. First, all the learning happens right there, in the community, not some generic meeting room. Second, you absolutely need a trusted local person or group to lead the charge. Third, and you've heard me say this a few times, we're talking about real projects, not just practice runs. And fourth, these tiny little microgrants that are just enough to get things moving. So how does this actually play out? Well, the lab follows a very specific path called the 6-session arc. You can think of it like a journey, one that's designed to take the group from the very first stage of just listening all the way to launching a project with cash in hand. And here's that whole journey laid out. It all kicks off with orientation, just getting everyone on the same page. Then they do something called an asset walk, literally walking the neighborhood to see what's already great. Next up are community briefings to get more context, followed by a super creative co-design sprint. Step 5 is where things get serious, turning those ideas into actual 90-day plans. And it all leads to the grand finale: pitch the project, get the microgrant, and launch it. So what's the secret sauce here? What's the engine that really makes this whole thing go? Well, the model points to 2 things that create all the momentum. The first part of that engine is something called the Equity and Innovation Fund. And its job is super simple: remove all the tiny little barriers that get in the way. We're talking small amounts of cash for things like art supplies, or maybe childcare so a parent can participate, or even bus fare. It's about getting rid of those little annoyances that can stop a brilliant idea in its tracks. The second ingredient is just as important, and it's captured in this one phrase: respect the convener. It turns out none of this works unless you have a person or an organization at the center of it all who is deeply trusted and respected by the community. That trust is the glue that holds everything together. So who can be this trusted convener? Well, just about any group that's already got deep roots in the community. It could be the local library, a community college, a neighborhood alliance, maybe even a volunteer center or a faith hub. The key is that they're already a known and trusted entity. Okay, this all sounds fantastic, but how do you prove it's actually working? The good news is the blueprint has a really smart way to measure success, and it's all about tracking the impact that truly matters. So the metrics here are different from what you might expect. First is connection. Are people from different groups building new relationships? Second is action. Pretty simple. Were the microgrants actually given out, and did projects get launched? Then you have outcomes. Are you seeing tangible results, like more young people getting involved? And maybe my favorite, replication. Are people asking you to do another lab? I mean, that's the ultimate sign it's working, right? All right, let's switch gears and get super practical. If you're listening to this and thinking, wow, I want to do this in my community, how do you even start? Well, there's a simple, straightforward blueprint to get your own pilot off the ground. And here it is. It's all designed to happen in just 90 days. The first 2 weeks are all about setup, finding your convener, recruiting people, getting the funds. The next 6 weeks are when you actually run the 6 sessions we just talked about. And the final 4 weeks are all about implementation, learning, and sharing what happened. It's a complete cycle, from start to finish, in 1 quarter. And here is probably the most amazing part. The cost. That all-important microgrant fund, it typically only needs between $2,000 and $5,000 to get started. That is a stunningly small investment to unlock so much community action and creativity. So let's end with a powerful question to chew on. If you had to prove this whole concept works with just one group of people and one single neighborhood measuring just one thing, all in 90 days, what would you choose? What would be the one metric that proves this really matters? It's a great question to ask yourself about your own community.